What's up guys, Mr. Lusted here. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't actually do any of those things because they will be blocked on the video because it's for education. This is the first video in a series of things that is designed mainly for revision, so you can have a look through some of these points, fill up your revision cards full of the really key important information about some of the set works, but also some of the musical aspects and also some of the time periods. I know this is really good for when you're doing your independent revision. You can just fill up cards, listen to my lovely voice, and get all this information that you need for your exam in your brain so you can do the best that you can. Here's some general facts about the piece Bad Neri. First of all, it was written in the Baroque era of music, which actually started in 1600 and ended in 1750. This is when J.S. Bach died, so he died in 1750, and they were like, it's over, we're going to end the Baroque period. Our most prolific, the guy who wrote the most, composer died, and therefore we're calling it to an end. It was composed between 1738 and 1739 as part of his orchestral suite number 2. So there's a load of different pieces, and this was one of the pieces in there. J.S. Bach was born in 1685 and died in 1750, so he was born about 100 years into the Baroque period, but as soon as he died, his legacy ended it. Using our Dr. Smith stuff, we are on the first D, which is dynamics. The piece is mostly forte throughout, however, they do not mark this down. This is very typical of the Baroque period, where they often wouldn't mark the tempo as well as the dynamics. The dynamics are tiered, where they have large jumps in dynamics. So if you looked at it, if you were to draw them out, it'd look like a set of steps. There are no crescendos, which are where music gets gradually louder, in which they come in at the end of the classical period and also towards the start and throughout the Romantic period. Rhythms. So the rhythms, there are very different rhythms depending on what instrument you're playing. The flute part and the cello part get that motif X and motif Y, which uses lots of quavers, lots of semiquavers, so 8th and 16th notes. And the second violin and viola are less complicated. They use much more quavers and crotchets. They're there to provide the harmony and the support for the main motif that is being played in the cello and the flute. Now, interestingly, the other instrument that would have lots of complicated rhythms is the harpsichord. Whatever the cello plays, the left hand of the harpsichord would play. So you've got the right hand playing some chords, and then the more complicated cello part being played in the left hand of the harpsichord. Throughout the piece, and this is a really good one, this might come up on your exam, the piece is in 2/4 time signature. They might say add the correct time signature in which case it's a 2 above a 4. I know I've written it like 2/4, like a sort of fraction there. However, that's just because the limitations of the PowerPoint. The next thing we're looking at in Dr. Smith is the structure. So the structure is a double binary structure, which means there's two sections, an A section and a B section, with repeats in both. So we go all the way through the A section and there's repeat markings. We go right back to the start, go all the way through the A section again, and then we go to the B section, repeat markings, right back to start, and go through that. The section A starts in the key of B minor, finishes in the key of F sharp minor. B section starts in F sharp minor and then finishes back in B minor. This is really typical of the Baroque period, where they'd like to start in a tonic key, so tonic being the first of the key, and then end in the 5th, which is the 5th note of the scale, and in that kind of key. The melody is consistent and made up of two different motifs. Motif X, which is this one, if I got my act together, you would have heard it playing. This opens the piece and is made out of quavers and semiquavers, and also the arpeggios of a B minor chord. You can see it starts, it's moving this little sequence here. So do 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 dum, ending on that B note, which is the tonic of the key. The second idea that Bach has is this, which is motif Y. He then changes this throughout the piece. So these are the two main ideas, and Bach takes these 2 points and then uses them and modifies them throughout the piece. So there might be a slightly different ending to this motif X, you will hear it in the flute, you will hear it in the cello, you will hear it moved around. They both use arpeggios, broken chords, and hey, look at this. This is a spelling mistake not by me, but actually by Educast, and conjunct movements. So all those things are from the Educast notes that I will link at the end. The instrumentation is quite interesting. I'm going to pause because there's a seagull on my roof, and I'm just going to get it off because you might be able to hear it making noise. Brilliant. Seagull sorted. The instrumentation is a string orchestra and a harpsichord, with the soloist being the flute. So the string orchestra contains the usual suspects with violin 1, violin 2, viola and cello, as well as a double bass. Now the harpsichord and the cello team up to play something called the basso continuo, which is only ever going to be heard in Baroque period. I like to think about this, and often the conductor and the composer be the same person. So I like to think about this as being like you'd have the main conductor and composer sat at the piano, or in this case, the harpsichord, bashing out the harmony and also some of the key lines, looking at the orchestra, making sure they're all playing the right kind of thing. The basso continuo is only heard in that Baroque period. T in Dr. Smith is for texture. The texture is homophonic, with the flute as the main melody and the solo instrument. This is often joined by the cello that plays main parts, and also the harpsichord, which doubles whatever the cello plays. I've put another T on this one. So the tempo is allegro, which means to play fast, quickly and bright. This is not marked on the score, which again is typical of the Baroque time period. The harmony, which is how notes are combined at the same time to create chords, is all diatonic. So that means there's using notes of the scale. So it modulates and changes key a lot throughout the piece. And one key thing is bar 35 has what's called a Neapolitan sixth chord. That may come up. Bar 35, Neapolitan sixth. That means they take whatever the sixth chord of the scale would be, and then they have put it down one semitone, so it's a flattened version of that. The keys that are heard in the different section of the piece are as below. So in the A section we have it as B minor, A major and F sharp minor in that order. That is a brilliant thing to write down because it will help you identify which different sections, which the modulations go to. And in the B section it starts off in that dominant key, the F sharp minor. It then goes to E minor, D major, G major, D major, and ending then in B minor. There are some cadences. There's only ever going to be two types of cadences in Bad Neri. That's perfect 5-1 cadences, which feel closed and finished. And then the second one is imperfect cadence, which is any other chord going to a 5. These feel open and unfinished. Look at these two different cadences. In the A section, you can, if you would like to learn it by rote, you can just say P-pip, which means perfect, perfect, imperfect, perfect. So P-pip. And then if you want to remember them for the B section, I went pip-pip, ip, which I don't know if that's me going crazy or not, but I find that P-pip is okay to remember. Perfect, perfect, imperfect, perfect. And B, pip-pip, like you're going to do pip-pip hooray. And then pip-pip, ip, I-double-P. So perfect, imperfect, perfect, perfect, imperfect, perfect, imperfect, perfect, perfect. Now, there are some ornaments that are throughout Bad Neri. There's a whole different thing in the SharePoint about ornaments and how they are used and what they are. But in this one, there's two kind of main ones. There's some appoggiaturas, but also there are trills. Trills are marked with this little TR and this kind of section here, and they are in a few different points. Again, they're in the Educast notes. For example, here in bar 8, beat 1. You can see here 5, 6, 7, 8, and that is beat 1 there. Just in case you need to remember how to name stuff. So, if you're hungry for more, this will be full in the SharePoint. There will also be a load of links to all the Educast stuff in there. I will have given you out your knowledge organisers in tomorrow's lesson. If you're watching this tonight, which you might not do. That might be a weird quote from the future. Anyway, good luck on revision. Remember that usually the outcome equals the amount of effort that you have put in. So put in that extra effort. You don't need to put in a Herculean effort, but enough will get you across that line. Wishing you happiness. Bye bye.